Hello everybody and welcome to the Combinations podcast. My name is Kyle, the digital content lead from North Staffordshire Combined Healthcare NHS Trust, and today we're talking going green on our green agenda again. And today's podcast, we're out and about at Harplands Hospital celebrating Cycle to Work Day, where we've got vendors, the county council, an array of people promoting cycling to work and turning the commute from cars to bikes. So with that said, let's go find who is at our Cycle to Work event.
Hi there, so I'm Ben Cooper. I'm the area focus lead for travel and transport at North Staffordshire Combined. So I lead the travel and transport element of the wider Trust's green and sustainability agenda.
I'm Simon Tagg, Staffordshire County Council's Cabinet Member for Environment, Infrastructure and Climate Change, leading on our net zero initiative to get to net zero by 2050.
Fine, thank you. And so we're here today to just promote the Cycle to Work Day. It's a national campaign that we're trying to get on board with. So we've got a few things that are going off across the Trust today. So we've got a charity bike ride for a local animal rescue charity called Fluffy Butts, which is starting soon. We've got our colleagues from Staffordshire County Council coming down on site today to take donations of recycled bikes that are going to be upcycled and then donated to local young people and families across North Staffordshire. And we've got Into Newcastle, which is a local physical activity sustainable transport programme based in the Newcastle area that helps people with walking and cycling proficiency, and they loan bikes to people as well.
Okay, so really pleased to support this initiative today. I think from the County Council's point of view, we're obviously a waste disposal authority, so anything that we can do to recycle, upcycle and get back into the stream for people who don't want their equipment, such as a bicycle anymore, we can then stop that going to landfill or stop that going to the incinerator or anything like that. But we have 14 waste recycling sites across the county, and we're looking to move to more reuse of that, get to zero waste, and reuse is a key part of that. And bikes such as this, going to those families that need them and can use them, and you get the health benefits from bikes as well, is really important. So really support this initiative today.
Absolutely. It's really important that we have a circular economy. Bikes can be really quite expensive at times, and so if we can help manage the cost of that for families, actually we're preventing bikes from going to waste disposal units, whilst also enabling people to make best use of them and get the health benefits of travelling, as well as helping towards that target of net zero by 2050.
Yeah, and it's a behavioural change thing as well, isn't it? It's so we can provide the bikes, so then people have got to use and think what you're doing is also that sort of initiative and routing, getting from home to the hospital to work, rather than taking bringing your car, which is the easy option. But if you've got a bike, obviously it's much more healthier. And on days like this, when the weather's not too hot, it's okay. But of course also, I think as you say, you're going to get some routing in place for people to get the fastest route here. So we have increased across the county, particularly in North Staffordshire, the number of cycling routes, and we're going to do that in Newcastle under Lyme particularly more, with an initiative to link the Keele to Stoke Station cycling route through the town centre. That's an investment through the town deal that Newcastle Borough Council has got, which has been delivered by the county council. So that will be more, more cycle routes, easier to use, and then all they need then is the equipment to come in and cycle in with.
Absolutely, and as part of our partnership with Staffordshire County Council and the local districts and borough councils as well, we'll be promoting all of those types of initiatives to staff that live in and around Staffordshire, so that they can make best use of them, alongside our employee discount schemes through VivUp for bikes and equipment. We're currently have a survey that's going trust-wide around how we can improve cycle storage infrastructure across our trust as well, again to try and make that as easy as possible for people, so that we've got an environment that enables people to cycle into work as easy as possible and as cheaply as possible.
So in the autumn, the County Council is launching its circular economy strategy, and I think really key working with partners such as Health, the district and borough councils as well, to ensure we can have a functioning circular economy that gets our waste down to minimise as much as possible. Ultimately, we want zero waste in Staffordshire, and this initiative helps us to get there, and also, as you said, the health benefits and also the traffic benefits as well. We've got congested roads in North Staffordshire. If we can get more people onto cycle routes coming into work, all the better.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Ben. We're going to move over now to one of our vendors and see what they've got to say.
Yeah, so my name is Vicky Dale. I work for Staffordshire County Council as part of the Into project, walking and cycling of Newcastle.
And what are you here today for?
Today is a active travel cycle to work day, so we're just encouraging lots of walking or cycling to work. So we're here specifically today for biking. There's also donations of bikes as well, so you can come and drop any unwanted or unused bikes off and they can be recycled back into the community.
And what's the benefit of cycling in the community?
So the benefit of cycling, there's lots of benefits really. So there's the traffic, there's also the admissions and that helps to lower that. But for physical fitness, mental well-being, so there's lots of personal benefits and also benefits for lots of other people in terms of admissions and reduced number of cars on the road.
And here today you're catching the footfall at Hartlands with the stand. What's the stand going to promote?
Yeah, so the stand for me today is to promote Into projects, walking and cycling. So we're here, we've got some little freebies that we're giving away here today, but also just to promote all of our groups that we're doing. So we've got walking groups, cycling groups. They happen on a weekly basis, completely free of charge. Anybody can get involved if they're in like the Newcastle area. So that's why I'm here today at the Hoplands.
And how have you found the footfall's been?
The footfall, as it comes through, as people changing shifts, then there's been a few people, but hopefully there'll be more as we go on with the day.
Thank you.
Okay.
The one thing that's exciting about today's event is it was advertised publicly in Stoke-on-Trent. If you have a bike that you want to recycle, you can bring it to Hartlands and we would have taken it away. And as we speak, there is one being wheeled to us now.
Hi, my name's Rachel Bullock, Clinical Director for Specialist Directorate, and I've brought a bike to donate today to Cycle to Work Day. So I saw it on Facebook. The Trust put a post on Facebook just celebrating the day, encouraging staff to cycle to work, and any donations for any bikes to bring to the Trust site at Hartlands. So I saw it and thought, I can help out, I can donate, I can help the community. It's a children's bike, so it's one of my girls' bikes that they've grown out of, so it was a perfect way to give back because they weren't using it anymore. They've outgrown it and need bigger bikes. So I'm from Stafford, so I do drive over, but I do walk my children to work. We do get out on bikes wherever we can, so I think it's important when you're working from home that you've got that flexibility to be able to cycle or walk to your children to school where you can. And I would encourage staff to look at their route and think about whether there are alternatives, whether they can walk or cycle, especially with the beautiful weather at the moment.
It's great to see all the bikes turning up today. We've had 10 already at our event, which is absolutely brilliant. It's what we want to see. The bikes are starting to pile up to be taken away. And we have the team from the County Council here today who are going to talk about what happens to the bikes, how they're assessed and how we can get them back to be road ready.
My name's Adam Constable. I'm from Staffordshire County Council on the HWRC team. Obviously I'm here today to lend a hand obviously for the recycling scheme for the bikes. Any bikes brought to us today will be taken away, safety tested and then re-gifted out to the local community for anybody that needs them.
And luckily we've had some bikes donated today, so there's at least a bit of a success for the day.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see obviously people are doing their bit for the community in terms of donating, because there's not a lot of that going on in the wider community. Obviously with our recycling centres we do see a lot of bikes coming in on a daily basis, so if we can put them to good use, reuse them, then I'm all for that, and obviously it's better for the environment if we can do that.
And you've obviously told us the procedure that happens when they get taken away and safety tested. For anyone listening who would like to donate a bike, is there a requirement? Does it have to work, or is it just anything to do with the bike can be donated and sorted out later?
So as long as it's in of a reasonable condition, it is safe, and it's not something that's been sat still, that's completely rusted or anything like that, then yeah, bring it along to your local recycling centres. We'll have a look at it. Obviously, if it's any good to reuse, we'll put it to one side to be collected. If not, obviously it'll be sent off to be recycled.
And have you had much uptake over the last 12 months with bike recycling?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Every day's a new bike then?
Every day, yeah.
So what happens to the bikes when they are recycled?
So any bikes, obviously, that are any good, that go out to the community, obviously will be reused. Any that aren't will be sent off, stripped down, recycled for parts, and reprocessed within the scrap metal facilities.
It's amazing to think that pretty much every bicycle is almost recyclable in any way. And of course, you can take it to your local recycling centres and they will be able to advise on your bicycles. Now, we're going to go back over to Ben, who of course is one of our leads for Going Green in the NHS. And he's going to explain what we're doing in Q2 and how we're going green in the NHS. But firstly, Ben, how has the day gone? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's gone really well. We've had quite a bit of interest from people wanting to learn about what cycling to work actually means, how they can get involved with it, learning about what Into Newcastle can do, and the wider recycling offer that Staffordshire County Council have as well. Not just the bikes, but they do offer services around sort of paint recycling and things like that as well.
I've just learned a couple of things about what I can recycle, things I didn't think I knew I could recycle, so it's been good to have a chat with them as well and sort of get the answers to some of the questions I've had as someone who owns a house and recycles a lot. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's exciting to learn about things that we didn't know, and obviously they spoke about the bicycle recycling, and we had 2 or 3 bikes dropped off today, with 2 of them that are fit enough to be sent back out into the community. So, and is that the message that we're happy to push? And
yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the thing. It's really important that we reduce barriers to sustainable modes of transport wherever we can. And the cost of bikes is just one of those, because it can be expensive for families when you've got other priorities. And so if we're able to help people to access cycling equipment at a cheaper rate or for free because bikes are being donated, then that's great. And as part of the travel and transport plan and part of the Cycle to Work Day, we've been promoting Viv Up, which allows staff to access bikes and cycling equipment at a discounted rate. So we're trying to reduce the barriers to accessing like cycle schemes and reducing barriers to cycling to work for our staff.
And to make it easier as
well. As
well.
easy as possible, that's the plan.
We have a lot of staff that obviously live and work in Stoke-on-Trent and Newcastle, so to have a cycle to work scheme is quite a good thing to have to help be more sustainable as a trust.
Absolutely, and it's one of the things that we're trying to do. So earlier we heard from the county councillor that's got the lead responsibility for sustainability, and he spoke really well about how they're trying to improve the cycle infrastructure across North Staffordshire, and that's something that we'll be promoting because it'll help encourage people to cycle to work by giving people the confidence that there are safe and accessible routes to cycling across North Staffs.
And the last time we were on the podcast, we were talking about the first phase with the other members of the team, but obviously this is now the second phase where you were in with transport, and obviously having a day like this is a good start to the phase of getting us to a greener place.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is just one part of our Proud to be Green initiative, where this quarter we're trying to promote lots of different means of sustainable travel. It'll hopefully help contribute to our targets of increasing sustainable modes of transport into work by around sort of 10% and reduce single car journeys into work. So we're going to be doing a few things, promoting like all of the bus timetables and all of the local cycle planning and route planning apps and websites that can enable people to get into work, as well as our cycle storage survey that is going to close on the 16th of August, which will help direct how we respond to people's needs that do want to cycle into work across the trust, not just at Harplands but across all of our sites.
I think there is a pickup on the cycling, as I've seen on some of our sites, more bikes outside. So whether it's just pure chance because the weather's nice, or actually, people are thinking about being greener and think, well, I can just cycle there. I mean, the roads being a little bit more safer nowadays as well. I mean, where I come from, they've just upgraded all the roads. It almost feels like the Netherlands now because there's more cycle paths on the sides. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, I can't do anything about the weather, but what we can do is try and keep people's bikes safe and dry when they do come onto sites, and that's the aim, really, to make it as easy as possible for people.
Yeah, get a good bike shelter here and there.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah. If people know where they are, know that they can access them, and feel confident that at the end of the day their bike's still going to be there. That's the most important thing, I think.
And today we've had some of our staff doing a ride to some of our sites to raise cycling as you can cycle. They're going down some of the main routes anyway. So how do you think they're going to be doing today?
Absolutely fantastic. They're doing about 40 or 50 miles across, starting from the Harplands and coming back to the Harplands across some of our community sites. So they'll be taking pictures and letting us know how it goes, and hopefully they'll have a great time, and they'll raise some money for a really great local charity as well.
And they're obviously avid cyclists as they come in their full lycra and helmets and bikes that are definitely fit for purpose on the roads.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're worth more than my car, some of those bikes. But people don't need to have a fancy bike or lots of lycra and fancy gadgets to start cycling into work. There are lots of sort of cheap, accessible options that people might want to consider when they're dipping their toe into the water. And organisations like Into Newcastle, so if staff are living in and around the Newcastle area and are interested in becoming a more confident cyclist, then I'd encourage people to check out Into Newcastle, because they're a great local organisation that can really help people build their confidence in cycling when they're just getting started.
Thanks, Ben, for that great insight of what's going on at North Staffordshire Combined Healthcare NHS Trust. It's great to see that both patients and staff can do something to help the NHS get to a greener place. And we've all learned something from today. It's been great to have the event at Harplands, but to wrap it up, we get the exciting side of getting to speak to our charity riders and see how the ride went around the Stoke-on-Trent area. So to wrap up the day, our cyclists have just finished the long commute, which was a charity ride. We'll just introduce you to them now.
So I'm Kerry from Sutherland Centre.
I'm Dave from the Sutherland Centre.
Hi, I'm Paul, I'm Kerry's husband.
And I'm Richard, I'm from Limebrick Centre.
So the first question is, how was the ride?
It was great, actually. It was much easier and better than what I thought. Much less potholes.
Yeah, brilliant. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, enjoyable. Great to see some different scenery.
Yeah, it was lovely, I think, especially the bits around the Ashcombe Centre and in the lanes up there and the hills up there.
To be honest, I think you've had a ride that's almost like captured the whole of Stoke-on-Trent, from the countryside to I bet there was urban parts that you went through. Obviously you mentioned the Ashcombe Centre being a highlight. Is there any other highlights from the ride?
The end.
So how long was the ride then?
I would say it's about, was it 4 hours?
Just
4 hours about, yeah. And we covered 35 miles.
Yeah.
So it's slightly less than 10 miles an hour. So we took it really steady.
And you stopped off at 5 of our locations?
Yeah, we started here. We went to Linebrook, then to the Greenfield Centre, which was the easy leg, and then the hard leg was going to the Ashcombe Centre, although Richard actually kindly took us a diversion past these two hills, so we didn't have to go up them. And then from the Ashcombe Centre to the Sutherland Centre, and then back to here. So this was the easy leg from the Sutherland Centre.
And that was a total of how many miles?
Was it 30? It was 35 miles.
35 miles, and that's not counting the hills in elevation.
No.
It'd be nice a 35-mile flat on a bike.
It would. Yeah, it gets a bit boring though. So you need to have the little hill now and again.
And how did the staff take it? Did they enjoy your presence? Was there much of a presence at our locations?
Well, let's just rate the welcoming committee. Ashcombe Centre were fantastic.
Yeah.
Sutherland Centre were obviously fantastic.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you've passed that to me to slate the other centres. It was nice to see staff at the other centres as well. But we got particularly warm welcome at the Ashcombe and Sutherland.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, there was a few people coming out to us and giving us like a drink and things like that. But we got a lot of pictures anyway from each centre, so we'll send them through when we get them to send them to us.
And obviously today is about promoting to cycle.
Absolutely,
obviously yours is an extremely long commute in comparison to what we're trying to raise awareness for. But it proves that you can do it. Cycle between the centres on the main roads. I mean, you've got some fantastic pieces of equipment, but I guess that's because cycling is a passion for most of you or all of you.
We do it quite often, I think. Yeah.
I don't think we'll be seeing any combined Lycra gear anytime soon. But let's not say no. It could happen.
Team kit. We could have team kit.
We could have team
kit.
The running club, which is run by Rob Sillitoe, has running gear.
It does, yeah.
So
maybe that's an idea for the future.
And you've done it today, obviously on an absolutely baking day for English standards. What we clocked 26 in the car, was it? So and we had the air conditioning on, so obviously it must have been difficult for today. But is it going to happen again? What's the future for this ride?
I'd like to do it again. I'm going to say yes. I got there's 4 of us here that might say yes.
I'll do it again.
Once a year.
I'll definitely do it again. It's just need organising. Probably best in the summer because obviously that's the best cycling weather, but you can still do it in the winter as long as it's not raining. Yeah.
And could anybody, because obviously you've got good gear here, you've obviously road aware, but to advertise to anyone who thinks actually I'd like to do 35 mile on a bike, is it for everyone?
Well, I think so, yes, but I've been doing it for 35 years, so maybe commuting to work though is brilliant.
Yeah,
it
start
gets
there.
you work, and if you're a bit stressed when you finish, it goes by the time you're at home.
Yeah,
honestly.
I'd say the same as Dave. I used to commute, and I used to have 40 minutes ride home, and you could sort out your head through your legs in a way, And it's a great way of finishing.
Yeah. As long as they mend some of them potholes in Cheddleton, but that's a pet gripe. Yeah. But I think we've all commuted at one stage or another, and we probably agree exactly the same. It really is good for your mental health and physical health, obviously, unless somebody knocks you off. That is.
Well, there's always a risk, but
there is a risk. There's a risk in a car. I've certainly had more accidents in a car.
But in comparison to other sports like golf, where it's really expensive to get into, and I know your equipment is probably the topper tier of it, but obviously today we've had the recycle scheme and all that, so there is an option for somebody to get on and start riding. And I've found, as mentioned earlier in the podcast, that my town where I'm from, Stafford, is they're doing up all the roads, so there are more almost like Amsterdam I compared it to earlier, where there's dedicated cycle paths. So with the infrastructure there will be a place for everyone to start commuting to work.
Yeah, because the more cycle paths that there are, the more people get into it. The more routes that they have, the more safe routes. Because sometimes if you're on the road, a main road, cars pass you really closely. But if there are committed cycle paths, that would be excellent. That would get people to cycle.
And I think you find your own way as well. So I think you find ways through the back streets and off the main road, and you don't do many more miles through that. So like today, we've used lots of our own little knowledge about little routes, haven't we, today, and cycle paths.
And it's also you get to know your area from being like you cut the 2 hills out and everyone's really happy with you.
We should be very ashamed of that, really.
But it's not about the challenge.
No, we're not
ashamed.
Shouldn't
be hard. It shouldn't be hard. It should be, like you said, uplifting. And obviously you've been out, what would you say, 4 hours, was it?
4 hours, yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a long time. I only go to the gym for like 50 minutes, so that's doubled what I do. So
we've worked hard. We've worked hard on that ride today. Yeah.
And you've done it for a cause as well.
Yeah.
Raising awareness for.
Still enough time to donate, by the way. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get you to go into. I was like, for what? But so.
Tell us about the charity.
The charity is called Fluffy Butts Animal Rescue. They are a registered charity and they rescue and rehome small animals who are liable to a lot of abuse, like rabbits, guinea pigs. They have got some pigs as well, but lots of small animals like mice and things like that. So very, very good charity, and I've collected money from them before doing a different ride.
And I'll leave a link in the description of the podcast so they can click below and read and see what it's all about. So, but apart from that, you look like you've had a great time. It's a brilliant day for weather and for cycling. And I imagine with it being the 6 weeks holidays, the roads are a little bit quieter as well.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Good timing, I thought.
Right, well, well done all.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
So there we have it on the Combinations podcast, our first charity ride completed on Cycle to Work Day. And what a beautiful day we've had. It's been sunny skies. We've had it really nice and blue here at the event to help raise awareness, to get people to think, can they cycle? Alongside our ride that was 35 miles long and took over 4 hours for our cyclists to complete, stopping off at the localities to sort of inspire other members of staff to think, can they do a greener commute? Us at the Trust, we've obviously implemented shelters to keep the bikes dry and safe, but also telling the staff as well that there is options for salary sacrifice like VivUp to get themselves a bike of their choice if they are thinking about doing a greener commute. Now, we know it's not for everyone and it's not always accessible for everyone to use a bicycle to get to work, but to give them that option and education is what we're trying to do here on the podcast and in the greener agenda. Obviously today we've had the main focus on being transport, but we do other options as well to help the NHS get to that greener future. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. My name's Carl, the Digital Content Lead from North Staffordshire Combined Healthcare NHS Trust. And if you want to follow any more of our podcasts, then you can do that on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.